Planning and Zoning Commission is an independent advisory body of the City of Ames City Council. The Planning and Zoning Commission members are volunteers of the community and not part of the city administration. The Planning and Zoning Commission is supported by staff from the city's planning division. The commission is responsible for recommendations on matters involving subdivisions, annexations, master plans, and major site development plans, amendments to the zoning ordinance, and comprehensive plan amendments. We make our recommendations based on city codes, the facts presented, and input from the public. As an advisory commission, we welcome all comments regarding the proposed item. Please direct your input to the commission. If the proceedings become lengthy, we may ask that comments be focused on new information not previously presented. You may speak only once on an agenda item. If you wish to speak, please fill out a speaker information card and present it to the recording secretary. We ask that you come to the microphone to speak so that all comments may be recorded. The order of the proceeding for each item on the agenda will be as follows. City staff will present the staff report regarding the agenda item. Commission members will have an opportunity to ask questions of city staff. The applicant will be invited to make a statement regarding the request. Commission members will have an opportunity to ask questions of the applicant. Members of the audience will be invited to come forward to offer comments and questions. Once public comment is closed, city staff and the applicant will have an opportunity for concluding remarks. The commission will discuss the application based on all presentations and any comments given and come to a recommendation for city council. The discussion may include further questions of city staff and the applicant for clarification. And with that, we will move into the first item on the agenda, introduction of commission members.
Julie Winter.
Cheryl Moss.
Mike Sullivan.
Mike Clayton. Mike LaPetra.
Matthew Voss.
All right, and with that, we'll move to item 3, approval of the agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor of approval of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll move to approval of the minutes of April 16th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes of April 16th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Now we're open to the public forum part of the meeting. So if anyone from the audience would like to speak on an agenda item not on the agenda, feel free to come up now and speak. Seeing none, we'll close the public forum and move on to agenda item 6, annexation of property in North Ames, generally in the area of George Washington Carver Avenue to the west and Hyde Avenue to the east. Borgmeyer Farm annexation.
Good evening. So this is a voluntary annexation. It includes 19 parcels and approximately 235 gross acres of land. We do have both consenting and non-consenting property owners as part of this annexation. We're allowed under state law to annex non-consenting property owners up to 20% of the total annexation area. Non-consenting property owners are shown hatched, not in the full blue on this map I'm showing, so you can see where they're located. In total, they're 12% of the annexation territory, so we're within the allowance for an 80-20 annexation. And you can see, the reason behind annexing non-consenting property owners at this point along George Washington Carver. You can see the properties labeled JDS Rentals, Hilker, and Mandernock. With the annexation of the consenting Borgmeyer land, given we have Scenic Valley across the street, those will become islands of unincorporated area within the city if they're not annexed at this time. And that's not permitted under state law. Similarly, on Hyde, you have the Enos, Gregg properties, and those are also would become islands with this annexation. We have the Hunsaker properties, which form this strip out to the unincorporated area currently that have applied for annexation, as well as Hayden's Preserve and IHF properties and the Sturgis property. Again, that's because for both of these properties, we can't leave them as islands of unincorporated area. They have to be annexed under state law. We're also including rail territory. So you can see there's a railroad that kind of bisects this annexation area and the city limits. It goes all the way down to Bloomington, in fact. And so with this annexation, we are allowed to create, in order to create more uniform boundaries, to also take the railroad property in. That's important. If the railroad was not annexed, it could create an unincorporated corridor that could affect the city's boundaries and growth long term. And I just wanted to touch on, with these non-consenting property owners, the city does maintain a Hyde right-of-way already. With this annexation, we will fully have GW Carver right-of-way in the city. Services are available along Hyde already. Services will be or are available along GW Carver for those property owners. They're not required to connect to city sewer or city water. If their septic system fails and they're within 200 feet of city sewer, they're required at that point, but it's not something that's automatic with annexation. And then the last point I'll make on this is, with annexing these properties that are non-consenting, it will help us have a consistent area for emergency service response, which is important. So moving on to the consenting properties, I think the main property you see on your screen is labeled Borgmeyer. This is 150 acres approximately, and it's really the last area in the northern area of Ames that the city plans to serve and develop as part of Ames Plan 2040. It's one of our planned growth areas. It's readily serviceable with infrastructure extensions that's already occurred, with the previous utility extensions as part of the Hyde improvements to the east. So local development group that includes Friedrich and Hunsaker has purchased the Borgmeyer property on contract. In Ames Plan 2040, it is shown as an RN4, which is a walkable urban area. We expect a mix of diversity of housing units, 400 plus housing units, and a mixed use and commercial core as well. And the final aspect of the development of the Borgmeyer properties is with this annexation, council did direct us to draft a development agreement, and that'll just lay out infrastructure needs and cost sharing as that develops. For instance, how Stang Road is extended through the site, how sewer and what size of sewer is extended through the site, and any cost sharing for oversizing of infrastructure. That agreement has not yet been drafted, but I did want to mention it. So the next steps after Planning and Zoning Commission action, this will go to City Council for on June 10th for a hearing. I did want to note, because we did have to continue the commission meeting, that the date has changed. It was May 27th. It is now June 10th. And then this will go on to a state board called the City Development Board, which is required to approve annexations that involve non-consenting property owners, to ensure we're annexing within state guidelines, again, for more uniform boundaries and to prevent the creation of islands. And so with that, this, annexation is in line with Ames Plan 2040, future growth scenarios, and we are including non-consenting property owners as allowed under state law to prevent islands and the railroad for more uniform boundaries. So we are recommending alternative 1, which is for you all to recommend approval, and I'm happy to take any questions.
So I understand why the Metternich and the Hilker property, and GDS, why those ones are included. Why do the ones on the east need to be included in this? Enos and Greg, maybe I'm missing that, but.
So, yeah. So as part of this annexation with the Borgmeyer properties, we did also receive annexation applications from those 2 pieces of Hunsaker property that connect the Enos and Gregg properties to the unincorporated area. It's that strip. And then we also have annexation agreements with the Sturgis and INHF properties. Because of a previous division, they did agree to annex at such times the city requested. So we did say we are doing an annexation in this area. please submit applications, and they did voluntarily apply for annexation at this point. And Hayden's Preserve, we also reached out to that owner, and they also voluntarily annexed. So everything on the west side of Hyde has submitted an annexation application.
Essentially, it's all islands on the east side of Hyde.
I guess I don't understand how those are islands. The Enos and the, maybe I'm just missing it. I don't understand.
Do you have another map that shows city boundaries better?
Oh, those are already part of it. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Down
So
now.
Ada Hayden.
Nope, you're good. I get it now.
Okay.
Wait, no, I didn't follow it, so continue.
So the city boundaries are kind of that light gray overlay. Ada Hayden is to the east here. Everything to the south and the east and the north of the Enos and Gregg properties is already in the city.
Okay.
And to the west of the Enos and Gregg properties also.
Yes, and Auburn Trail is to the west and is already in too. The only remaining unincorporated areas along Hyde are the Hunsaker, INHF, Sturgis properties and Hayden's Preserve.
Great. Thank you. That makes sense. Do we have any other questions for city staff at this time? Okay. Well, then we will invite the applicant, if they're here, to come up and make a statement if they wish regarding the request. Nope. Okay. Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to members of the audience will be invited to come forward and offer comments and questions if they would like. Okay. Seeing none. Okay, so city staff and the applicant will have an opportunity for concluding remarks. Are there any concluding remarks on this issue? All right. Is there any further comments or questions or discussion? Okay.
Other than just not wanting to do it for personal property reasons or whatever, have there been any arguments against this that have any basis of the legalities?
I don't know. I don't know if I can touch on the basis, but I can just share the Enos property owners, when council initiated the annexation, did come and voice, concerns about taxes and different city rules now applying and rural lifestyle and that kind of thing. And I have also talked with the Hilker property owner who has a home business in the county. And we did go through how that would still be allowed to continue once annexed into the city. It would be considered non-conforming, but allowed to continue, just not, expand.
Any other comments or questions? Does anyone have a motion?
Yeah, make a motion for alternative 1. The Planning and Zoning Commission can recommend that the City Council approve the 80-20 annexation of 19 parcels and abutting rights-of-way totaling 235 acres for the properties located along George Washington Carver Avenue, extending to Hyde Avenue, and south of Ames Golf and Country Club in Franklin Township, Story County, Iowa, by finding that the proposed annexation is consistent with Ames Plan 2040 Comprehensive Plan, and that the proposed annexation territory eliminates islands and creates more uniform boundaries. The annexation will be subject to a developer agreement addressing infrastructure needs and developer responsibilities being completed.
Second.
All right, all in favor of alternative 1, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. All right. And now we'll move on to agenda item 7, reviewing the bylaws.
I
So
didn't
just-
have any comments on
Yeah.
this one.
It's just a point of information on this, I guess. The bylaws are required to be reviewed every May by the commission. Any recommended amendments to the bylaws cannot be adopted or voted on at this meeting, though. So they have to be voted on at a preceding meeting after they've been proposed, I think is how it reads.
Have any suggested changes? Does anybody else?
I do not.
Okay. Having no changes, I guess we reviewed the bylaws as required in the bylaws, and we'll move forward without any changes to the bylaws at future meetings. So, okay. All right, that takes us to commission comments. Do we have comments from the commission? All right. Hearing none, any staff comments?
I do not have any tonight.
All right. Well, that was fast. All right. A motion to adjourn?
So move.
We're adjourned.